Hi, my name is Chris Lemp, and I'm from the Dynamic Drum School. Today is part 6 of the 8th Note Drum Lesson series. And today what I want to teach you is how to add the bass drum to the 4 drum fills that you've learned so far. So let's get started. All right, let's take a look at example number 1. So this is the first drum fill you learned, 8 eighth notes on the snare drum. And we're just going to add the bass drum on counts 1 and 3. So on beat 1, we have the snare and the bass drum. Then the and, 2 and is just the snare drum. And then on beat 3, we have the snare and the bass drum. And then the and, 4 and is just the snare. So let's try this for 4 measures together at 50 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now let's try it at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's take a look at example number 2. This is the second drum fill you learned. So we're going to start on count 1 with the snare and the bass drum. Then on the and of 1 is just the snare. Then we're going to go up for 2 hits on the small tom for the 2 and the and. Then you're going to come over on beat 3, you're going to hit the medium tom and the bass drum. Then on the and of 3, just the medium tom. Then you're going to come down to the floor tom for the 4 and the and. Let's try this together for 4 measures at 50 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Great, now let's try a little faster at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's take a look at example number 3. This is the L-shaped fill, the third fill you learned. So we're starting on the snare drum for 2 hits. We're going to have on beat 1 the snare and the bass drum, and then just the and on the snare. Then you're going to come up to the small tom for the 2 and the and. Then you're going to come back to the snare. On beat 3, you're just going to hit the snare and the bass drum, and then on the and of 3, just the snare. And then over to the floor tom for the 4 and the and. Let's try this together for 4 measures at 50 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Cool, let's do the same thing a little bit faster at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's take a look at example number 4. This is the fourth drum fill you learned. We're going to start up on the small tom. So on beat 1, we have the small tom and the bass drum. Then on the and, 2 and is just the small tom. Coming down to the floor tom for beat 3, we have the floor tom and the bass drum. Then on the and of 3, 4 and the and is just the floor tom. Let's try this together. Practice at 4 measures at 50 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Great, same thing a little bit faster at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and Let's take a look at example number 5. So with number 5, we're going to combine the first drum beat you learned with the 4 new drum fills, adding the bass drum on beats 1 and 3. So we'll start with the crash cymbal on beat 1, play the drum beat for 3 measures. Then on the 4th measure, you're going to try the first drum beat, adding the bass drum on 1 and 3. Go back, hit the crash, 3 measures of the drum beat. Now on the 4th measure, try the second drum fill you learned, adding the bass drum. Then go back, hit the crash, 3 measures of the drum beat, same thing on the 4th measure. Now we're going to try the third drum fill you learned, adding the bass drum. Go back, hit the crash cymbal, same thing, 3 measures of the drum beat. On the 4th measure, you're going to try the 4th drum fill. So this is going to be a total of 16 measures, and we're going to practice this together at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 2 and 2 and 3 and 4, 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 2 and 2 and 3 and 4, 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 2 and 2 and 3 and 4, 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 2 and 2 and 3 and 4, 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's try this together at 90 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So let's take a look at examples number 6 and 7. With these, I just want you to practice by yourself. We're going to do the same thing with number 5. We're just going to try the other 2 drum beats you learned. So with number 6, you're going to play the second drum beat you learned with the 4 drum fills. And then with example number 7, you're going to try the third drum beat you learned with the 4 drum fill examples. Try these from 50 beats per minute all the way to 90 and faster if you can do that. And then when you're finished with that, we'll come back and try the last example. Great, so we just have one example left, example number 8 on the PDF. So this one is going to be 8 measure examples. We're going to try the 3 drum beats you've learned with the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th drum fills. So we'll start with the crash on beat 1, play 7 measures of the drum beat. On the 8th measure, you're going to try the 2nd drum fill you learned. Go back, hit the crash, try the 2nd drum beat you learned. Then 7 measures of that. 8th measure, you're going to have the 3rd drum fill you learned. Then go back, hit the crash, 7 measures of the 3rd drum beat you learned, and then on the 8th measure, you're going to play the 4th drum fill you learned. Let's practice this together at 90 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Great. So now you learned all the drum fill variations adding the bass drum. What you can do as a fun exercise is what we tried in the previous videos. You can just move your leading hand to a different sound source. Try it on the hi-hat, ride, open hi-hat, crash, cowbell. You can try these in 4-measure phrases and 8-measure phrases. See if you can come up with a different drum beat each time and a different drum fill. You can also start exploring and seeing what other drum fill combinations you can come up with. So the next couple videos, the next ones we have are some more drum beat variations and more drum fill variations, and then I'm going to start to combine some quarter note and eighth note drum fills and drum beats. So I hope you're enjoying the content. If you're getting something out of it, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.